Good day, everyone. Today, this is the first topic in Developmental Psychology 3, and we're going to be talking about development in adolescence. So, what exactly is adolescence? Adolescence is a developmental period that starts at the onset of puberty and ends around the mid 20s. This is not so much time because puberty tends to start around like ages 10, 11, and the mid 20s. This is about roughly 10 years, not too significant in a person's lifetime, but it's very important still. During this time, the individual goes through immense changes such as biological changes, cognitive changes, psychosocial changes, and emotional changes. However, in this topic, we're going to focus on three main domains: puberty itself, neurobiological development, and psychosocial development. Puberty is a gradual developmental process that occurs between childhood and adulthood, and it takes many years to complete. Like we said earlier, about 10 years roughly. A little bit more, a little bit less, but 10 give or take. It is shaped by both biological and social processes, and the complex neural and endocrine change results in changes in the body shape. Neural and endocrine, I assume we all know what this means, but just in case, neural refers to the brain and endocrine refers to the hormones. So the changes in the brain and changes in the hormones then result in changes in the body shape. Now, puberty has two parts: adrenarche and gonadarche. Not to get into the weeds about the biological aspects and all the hormones, just know the adrenarche basically starts at age 6 and ends at age 9. Gonadarche starts at age 9 and ends at age 11. What exactly is adrenarche for? Like, what's the main point of adrenarche? During this stage, there are two hormones or two chemicals in the body that increase, and then these are responsible for the body odor in males during late childhood, and also the growth of pubic and axillary hair. Axillary hair is the hair in the armpits. So adrenarche, changes that happen to the body during adrenarche are responsible for the growth of pubic hair and axillary hair, and also body odor in males. So these hormones that rise, that I mentioned, these hormones rise throughout adolescence and they peak in around the 20s or so. Now, gonadal on the other hand, occurs with, like I said, between the ages of 9 and 11. Again, we're not getting into the weeds, but they are gonadal steroid hormones. There are certain hormones that happen that also rise during gonadal. They rise to adult levels, and then these changes are responsible for female breast and genital development. So adrenarche is for pubic and axillary hair, body odor in males. Gonadal is mainly for female breast and genital development. So in general, these changes in the body lead to growth spurts in the sexes, lead to skin changes like acne, body odor, increased body fat, and body breast in females, bigger testes and penis in the males, menarche. Menarche is the first period that a woman or a female goes through. The growth of pubic and axillary hair, and the growth of facial hair in males. Long story short, I'm going to go through it all over again. What are the changes that end up happening as a result of puberty, as a result of adrenarche and gonadal? We have growth spurts, skin changes, body odor, increased body fat and body breasts. That's 5 now. Bigger testes and penis. Menarche. That's first period. Growth of pubic and axillary hair, and the growth of facial hair in the males. So that's about 9 main changes that I've mentioned that happen as a result of adrenarche and gonadal. Alright, so there are 3 ways you can understand pubertal maturation. 3. We have pubertal status, pubertal timing, and pubertal tempo. I'm going to try and talk slower. I feel like I'm stammering. I might be going too fast for some of you, but I'm going to go again. There are 3 ways you can understand pubertal maturation: pubertal status, timing, and tempo. Especially timing and tempo, sound similar, but there's actually differences. So with pubertal status, this tells us how far along in puberty and adolescence is at any given moment. So one status could be that they are at the point where their voice is breaking. That means that the voice is getting deeper. Another person's status could be that they are at the point where they are receiving their first period, or where their breasts are budding, or where they're having a growth spurt. So that's pubertal status. This is inherently mixed with age. The word they use in note here is confounded. easy breaking down. It's like very related to age, which means that you can easily look at pubertal status and be like, okay, around this age, they should be going through X, Y, and Z. So let's say around ages like 11, 12, you should be having your first period. That is a sign of pubertal status. Now, pubertal timing, on the other hand, refers to how mature an adolescent is compared to same-sex peers of the same age, and it is standardized within same-sex peers residing in the same country. To break that down, that basically means that period timing should looks at how mature you are compared to others who are the same sex as you in the same country. So when you're looking at period timing, it's not so individual, it's more of a comparison. You're looking at how far along you've gone or how mature you are compared to your peers of the same sex in the same country as you are. That's what that is. That's kind of referring to status and timing. Now, tempo tells us how quickly an adolescent completes sets of behavioral changes. So to go again, status tells us how far along in puberty an adolescent is at any given moment. Timing is how mature an adolescent is compared to their same-sex peers in the same country. And then tempo is how quickly an adolescent completes sets of behavioral changes. Tempo is like how quickly you go. Status is just like where you are at some given moment. Timing is more of a comparison. I think that should clear things up. Now, it is hard to separate the effects of puberty itself from the effects of age. And that, if you can remember, that is very closely linked to pubertal status. You can't really separate pubertal status from one's age. For example, if an older adolescent behaves differently than a younger one, it could be due to their pubertal development, their age, a combination of both. So you can't quite say, oh, it's due to this one alone or due to that one alone. You can't say, oh, it's only due to their age, because their age usually tends to be very intricately linked with their pubertal status at that particular time. So this overlap between age and pubertal status is why pubertal timing is often studied to control for this confounding with age. And once again, timing is how early or late they are relative to their peers. So early life experiences, especially social risks and disadvantages, are shown to increase one's pubertal tempo and lower the age of pubertal timing. Now, early childhood, adverse childhood experiences, ACEs, we're still going to talk about that in a later video, but we're just going to lightly touch on them right now. So these tend to increase one's pubertal tempo, which is basically how fast they go through sets of pubertal changes, and lower the age of pubertal timing, which is in comparison to their peers, they tend to go through puberty a lot faster. So adverse childhood experiences makes one go through puberty faster overall, and it's not particularly a good thing, because why? Why do you want to have bad childhood experiences? That's not the vibe. So some of these stressors are there's a whole list of them in the notes. I'm going to go through all of them, but you can remember like 5 or 6, and it's not really important. I have to know every single one. I'm going to skip everything that is biological, like about this axis in the brain or that axis in the brain, because that's not what we are here for. So some stressors are sexual abuse, the absence of a father figure, maltreatment, also keep in mind malnourishment as well, low birth weight in females, caretaking transitions, familial issues, genetics, stress, parental harshness, obesity, and high BMI in females. There's also being overweight, which is like a high BMI as well. So I'm going to explain some of these. Sexual abuse is an obvious one. If someone is sexual abuse, they tend to mature faster. They tend to be hypersexual sometimes. Not particularly also a good thing, because, like I said, why? It's a stressor. Children don't deserve to be sexually abused ever. So that tends to make them go through puberty a lot faster and increases their pubertal tempo. Absence of a father figure is another one that can also increase one's pubertal tempo. You also have maltreatment, you have a low birth weight in females. When you have a low birth weight, like you're born and you have a really low birth weight, you're kind of already fighting for your life at that point. And then that just has other effects as well along the way. Transitioning. Caretaking transitions is another important one. when you have children who are constantly going through nannies or caretakers, maybe they're in a foster system, they're going from one household to the next, to the next, to the next. They're not settled. It's not warm. It's not loving. It's not kind. So they keep getting stressed and have to keep on adapting to someone new, adapting to new environments. And that's really not the vibe. It's not cool. So that tends to stress them, and then that tends to lead to a lower pubertal, a faster pubertal tempo. My bad if I've been saying lower before. That was wrong. Genetics as well. If your parents went through puberty quite fast, you also probably go through puberty quite fast. Stress, no brainer, that's obvious. Parental harshness, also a no brainer, that's also obvious. Those are like, then of course being obese or being overweight or having a high BMI, that also tends to affect in its own way. All right. So for delayed pubertal maturation, some reasons that someone could like delay quite late, like in puberty, is that in males it could be obese. So that's having a BMI that's greater than or equal to 95th percentile. Not quite important. Just on that obesity in males is a reason for delayed pubertal maturation. You could be continuously exposed to like organic pollutants, so you could live in a very nasty environment. Well, not you, but the child could live in a very nasty environment, and then that could lead to delayed pubertal maturation. It also be very poor nutrition, like I mentioned earlier. Malnutrition is another factor that also doesn't help this. Chronic illness, eating disorders, severe psychosocial stress, psychological and social stress. So if it's quite severe, it tends to lead to delayed pubertal maturation as well. Now, what are some primary challenges of adolescence? There are about four in this notes. Actually, more than four. There's also challenges for young people. But what are the primary challenges of adolescence? We have four. We have the achievement of biological and sexual maturation, the development of personal identity, the development of intimate sexual relationships with an appropriate peer. Did I rush through that? I'm going to go through that again for those of you that may not have heard me. So there are four primary challenges of adolescence. We have the achievement of biological and sexual maturation, the development of personal identity, the development of intimate sexual relationships with an appropriate peer, and the establishment of independence and autonomy in the context of the sociocultural environment. Big grammar, let's break it down. So, the first one says the achievement of biological and sexual maturation. Adolescence, primary challenge, that's basically puberty in and of itself. When you finally get to a point of like where you're mature biologically and you're mature sexually, that's basically the first one. That's the first primary challenge. Second primary challenge is the development of personal identity. In this one, also kind of self-explanatory, where you develop your own identity, you figure out who you are. I think we'll go into this a bit more in the next video, the next topic. But for this topic, we're going to gloss over it a little bit. So you kind of figure out who you are, your place in the world, how you view yourself, how others view you, identity. You figure that out and you develop it. That's number two. Number three is development of intimate sexual relationships with an appropriate peer. In some conservative societies, this is not a thing for adolescents, but let's be real, it happens anyway. So you have intimate sexual relationships with a peer that's appropriate, with whatever appropriate might mean to you, honestly, because who am I to decide that? Then the fourth one is the establishment of independence and autonomy in the context of sociocultural environment. So in your environment, in your culture, in your society, you establish your own independence. You figure out, for some people, depending. For me, that meant going out more often than I used to. For some people, it could mean something else. You have your own autonomy. You figure out what you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it. You kind of start to like define yourself. This again links with challenge number two, which is on personal identity. You start to like define yourself separate from your parents, from your family. Sure, you are still a part of that. You still belong to that whole unit, but you are now a distinct being and a whole distinct person, which is also very cool. So to recap, the four primary challenges of adolescence are the achievement of biological and sexual maturation, the development of personal identity, the development of intimate sexual relationships with an appropriate peer, and the establishment of independence and autonomy in the context of sociocultural environments. That is on primary challenges of adolescence. Now, challenges for young people. This one is kind of easy. You can easily think of this by yourself if you're asked like an exam or a test, but it's about 3, 6, 9, 12. About 12 here in this note. I'm just going to go through them all because why not? The first one is challenging authority. Young people tend to challenge authority a lot because why not? There's things that you come to meet and you kind of have to ask, why are they here? What good are they doing for me? Do we really need this? So you challenge authority. It's a necessary part of adolescence, in my opinion. I don't think it should be particularly shut down, but it should be more encouraged, like guided. So that you don't turn into straight out anarchy and stuff. So the first challenge is challenging authority. The next is taking risks. The third is experimenting with drugs, alcohol, and sex. Once again, like taking risks. The fourth is challenging the moral and social structure of society, similar to challenging authority. The fifth is demanding rights. The sixth is taking responsibility for self and others. That's six now. Seven, seeking spiritual paths like organized or cult religions, getting a job, changing schools and educational environments, developing relationships, understanding sexuality, and renegotiating the rules at home. Those are the 12 challenges for young people. I'm going to go through them again. They are very explanatory from the names. You challenge authority, take risks, experiment with drugs, alcohol, and sex. You challenge the moral and social structures of society. Demand rights. You take responsibility for yourself and for people around you. You seek spiritual paths, be it an organized religion or a cult religion. You get a job. You change schools or educational environments, moving from secondary school to university, getting your degree or degrees if that's your thing. You develop relationships, you build friendships, you drop old ones. People come, people go. That's how it is. You understand your sexuality more and more. Whether you're like heterosexual or bi or even asexual, you like get to figure out who you are, and you renegotiate rules at home. And that is on everything in development in adolescence. That's just the overview. In subsequent videos, we're going to go more in depth on these, but this is just it for now. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope this helped. I really hope you did.